Budo Brothers is now officially on McDojo Life.
We are here with Rob with McDojo Life. Now, if you haven't seen McDojo Life, you're just missing out. Rob, thanks for sitting down with us. We'd love to learn a little bit more about the real reason why you started what you're doing, how you got to where you are, and what is McDojo Life for those who don't know.
Okay, so the tagline has recently changed, but basically the headline, I guess you could say, for McDojo Life, the mission statement, is to keep martial arts legitimate.
Nice.
There is no regulating body for the martial arts at all. It doesn't exist. There is no thing to keep people in check in the martial arts at all. And I don't necessarily want to be that, because I think that if you just bring out a lot of information and you put it out there to the airwaves, I think it's very self-regulating. So I think that, if you found out that there was a pedophile in the martial arts, right, it would regulate itself usually. You'd be like, yo, dude, like, everybody knows that you have done this one thing, right? Or if you found out somebody was ripping people off, right? The average consumer wouldn't know that, but the community knows that, and we'd be able to just kind of put awareness out into the airwaves about it.
Got it. So is it, I love that it's not necessarily a watchdog, but you're just giving information for the market to make their own decisions and conclusions. And have you had a lot of experiences where, you're obviously going to ruffle some feathers when you're doing this kind of thing? Maybe talk a little bit about how you handle that.
Well, I mean, there's a couple things. One, how I handle threats. So I do get death threats. I told you guys about that. I get threats of physical harm or death threats and stuff like that. Typically what I'll do is, most of those people really love the martial arts, which they feel like I'm some type of an infection that they need to get rid of, right? When the problem is that we put people on pedestals, and so if they're in their eyes, their instructor can do no wrong. And that's not true. You make mistakes, and I make mistakes, we all make mistakes, right? But whenever their instructor makes a mistake, magically they have to turn the blind eye, right? So when I call that out, it's too much. It's almost like a religious experience, like that is their God. And all of a sudden, when you take that away from them, it takes all their structure, their belief structure away. So if I don't have my mentor, who's supposed to be this grand person, and he's not a grand person anymore, then what am I doing as a student? Have I been wasting the last 20 years of my life? Like, no, he does great things, I am sure, he or she, not being sexist, but I'm sure that they do great things in their life, but they also make mistakes. And we have to be able to highlight both of those things.
Right.
There's no mysticism there.
And I had a quick question. We are big on passion and purpose. How did you get started in martial arts? Tell us a little bit about your passion behind it and your journey in martial arts.
Well, yeah, I started when I was 12 years old, and I started because I was picked on and beat up in school. So I was born with a cleft palate, so I have scars and stuff like that, and I had a lot of surgeries extensively. I think I probably had at least like 20 surgeries by the time I was 12. So I had a lot of work done and stuff like that. And kids will pick on you and they'll make fun of you and stuff like that. Well, one day in middle school, I had a group of kids who were like 5 or 6 kids, and they stabbed me with pencils. They stepped on my head on concrete. They just beat me up. They put me in the hospital for 3 days. 2 teachers watched the entire thing and did nothing about it, because there was some type of like a rule in the school that said that teachers weren't allowed to intervene in fights. Only the officer on site was allowed to. And luckily for me, that officer was on the other side of campus breaking up another fight at the time. And so they beat me for 5 minutes. And the only reason I know it was 5 minutes is because the bell rang for class to be out. They started beating on me. And then the next bell for the next class to be in rang, and they were still beating on me. And that's a 5-minute gap. And that's a long time if I've ever been in even any kind of fight to be in a fight. And especially a losing one where there's more than one person. So I was in the hospital for a couple days, but that moment actually helped mold my entire rest of my life. Because a friend of mine who was late to that class, thanks for being late by the way, he shows up after I'm already bloodied and beat up on the ground, and he picks me up and he hands me a card, and it was for karate. And he goes, I'll never forget it. The words that he said was, "You need this." That was it. And we walked quietly all the way to the office. We didn't say a word, but I remember him saying, "You need this," and I kept that card. And my mom was always afraid that I would get hurt in any other sport. Like, I wanted to do baseball. She was like, no, because if the ball hits you, it'll mess up your surgeries, right? I want to do basketball. I want to do everything, anything physical to get out of the house and get out of the active. And she was like, no, because she was afraid I'd get hurt. And I get it, she's being protective. But as soon as that incident happened, I asked her to do karate. And it was my birthday the next week. So she handed me the card, and she goes, you know what? Or she took the card from me. She goes, you know what? I'm going to set this up for you. and she bought it as a birthday present. And so she signed me up for a year for a birthday present, and I have never stopped. Never stopped. Been doing it strong for 22 years now. Third degree black belt in karate, third degree black belt in Budo, which is a weapon system not too many people have heard of. Purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, 6-0 amateur boxing, 4-2 amateur kickboxing. I was very blessed to be on an international kickboxing team for 2 years called Team Full Circle, where we traveled the Waco and NASCA circuits and did point fighting and conflict boxing.
That's awesome. So we know the origin story. What's the future? What are you thinking? McDojo Life will get to, or where do you see yourself going in the next little while?
Well, I had an epiphany like a year or two ago. It's like my goal has never been to tear the industry down. It's not what I want. I want to keep it legitimate. And so my tagline used to be the best martial arts in the history of ever, which was obviously sarcasm, right? And then, but I was like, but that's difficult because what happens if I just tear everything down? That just makes me a hater. Like, what are you doing to help? So I figured, like, with the last 6 months, I've been doing like a heavy rebranding, and so I've been doing interviews with like amazing martial artists. I've been able to do collaborations with martial artists. I've been able to come to events like the Supershow that's going on right now and highlight things that martial artists need to do to survive in their business. I've been doing consulting work, and so basically I just started branching out because there's absolutely nothing I can't do with the brand. I can do whatever I want with it, and so why not have McDojo stuff be this small? And I highlight that always. That will always be a staple of what I do. I will always be that person to say, that dude's ripping you off. I will always do that. But how many other martial artists are good who are missing out on how to grow their business, who are going to fail because they refuse to learn anything about getting the student attention, who are going to fail because they refuse to get past their ego and go, you know what, maybe I need help. You know, and there are a lot of martial artists out there whose schools are failing. They're great martial artists. They are. They're amazing people, but they are going to lose that job and have to get a 9 to 5 because they don't know that information that's readily available out there. So I'm trying really hard to expose stuff like this to break the gap between people thinking that making money in martial arts makes you a McDojo. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. If you were gonna open up a business, the point is to make money. Should it be the only point? No. You want to help people. You want to give people confidence, self-discipline. You want to share your all that is great. You don't have to break that integrity to make money too. And what people don't realize is the more money that you actually are making in your business, the more people you can affect. You can have better advertising. You can have bigger spaces. You can get in bands, and now you can have after-school programs and affect kids. There's so many things you can do with money that you can't do without it. So it's just nice to try to help boost the community.
So how do you walk the line of, respecting tradition in terms of some of the more classic, traditional martial arts? And I find that there's this tendency to attack, that would not work in real combat. But guess what? Some of these things aren't designed for real combat. Well, so how do we balance that?
Well, I lived with a magician for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was broke, right? I was being a full-time martial artist back in the day, working for somebody who refused to learn anything about the business. I was actually the lead instructor of his academy at 16 years old, which doesn't say a lot. But I was lead instructor. When I turned 18, I asked him for a raise, and because I wanted to continue to do this full time, and he wasn't able to do so. And so I was like, well, one of these two things is going to have to go. Either my martial arts is going to have to suffer, or my day-to-day living situation is going to suffer because I can't afford the amenities that I would like. And so I said, fuck you, and you know what? I'm going to keep my martial arts. So I moved out of my parents' house at 18. I wound up staying on my friend's couch, who was a magician, but I learned something like a little odd, that magic and martial arts have a little something in common. If you become a magician, right, there's a lot of different types of magic, right? So you have like coin magic, and you can make a whole living off of just coin stuff, or like you have like card magic or stage magic. And martial arts is like that. You can be a stunt person, you can be a fitness person, you can be a fighter, you can be a stunt choreographer, you can you could be a mentor, like guys out here just teaching people about the business. There's all these different fingers. So which one of those is not legitimate? Well, they all are. They're all legitimate. We all start for different reasons, and we all want something different out of this. So, go ahead. Sorry about that. But yeah, so like we all start for different reasons. And so if you're starting because you want to lose weight and you don't learn how to fight, but you lose weight, you got what you wanted out of it. So why does it matter? It's an individual thing. If you got it because you need a mentor, which is where I think a lot of people have those pitfalls in the dojo stuff, is because they get the wrong mentor. But if you need a mentor and you get that, what does it matter if the rest of this, you don't get the rest of the stuff? We all start this for a different reason, right? I love stunt choreography. Most of that crap does not apply to real fighting, but it doesn't have to. That's the point.
its own thing.
It is what it is. It's like that's card magic. This is stage magic. They're different things under the same umbrella. And so I can respect both of them. I can like both of them, and I don't have to like hate karate because I like jiu-jitsu. I don't have to hate kung fu because I like aikido. You know, which I'm not a big fan of aikido, but I'm just saying, like, there are certain things out of aikido that are applicable. There's certain things out of every art that you'll get something out of, something. You know, I try to stick to 5 very standard rules. That kind of keeps me in check of what I will and will not go after. But when it comes to like the martial arts, traditionalism is amazing. It's an amazing thing. There's nothing wrong with Wing Chun Kung Fu. There's nothing wrong with Wushu. There is nothing wrong with traditional Okinawan karate. There is nothing wrong with Taekwondo. There's nothing wrong with any of that. They're just providing you with a different service. So if you're hating on any one of those things simply because it's not what you do, that's a stupid reason to hate something. Yeah, that's a dumb reason to hate something. Now, if you feel like somebody is slighting somebody or really doing them wrong, that's different. You know, if like somebody's taking somebody's money and then leaving, closing their school down without ever getting a refund, that's shady business practice. Or if, like we talked about pedophiles, but like let's say for instance they just lied about their belt rank. You know, if you're a blue belt teaching out of your garage, you be the best damn blue belt teaching out of your garage you could be. But don't call yourself a black belt. That's all I ask. Those are the only things that I really look for when going after stuff, you know? Like in the industry, I have made humongous mistakes. I am in no way denying that I haven't made every mistake in the book when it comes to this stuff, right? But that's kind of where I'm coming from, is I understand that those mistakes are there. What I don't respect is when people can go, never made a mistake in my life. I am the greatest. You call me sensei all the time. Like, there's lines, you know? Like, your name is Steve. You know, like you'll earn that when you earn it. You know, I just don't believe in giving that respect unless it's earned. People are people, and there are some people that walk into a room and they just demand it. You know, and there are some people who walk into a room and they don't demand anything, they earn it. And those are the people that I respect. You know?
So if people want to get in touch with you a little more, where can we send them to?
Easy. McDojo Life on anything. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you know, smoke signals, sign languages. You can find me.
Epic. Awesome. Well, thanks. Check it out. And we're going to get back to the show. Let's go have some fun.
Well, we're so glad to say that Budo Brothers is now officially on
McDojo Life.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.